Today, we're going to be talking about Would You Rather. In the beginning of the movie, we see Iris, a young woman caring for her sick brother Raleigh, who is unable to afford his treatment costs. Dr. Barden, the doctor treating Raleigh, introduces Iris to Shepard Lambrick, a seemingly philanthropic aristocrat, who offers her a deal. If she completes and wins in a game, his charitable foundation will pay for Raleigh's leukemia treatment and locate him a bone marrow donor. Due to increasing debts and frequent calls from the bank, making Iris so depressed, she reluctantly accepts the offer and calls the number on the back of the card. A car arrives as a well-dressed man welcomes Iris and opens the car door, and Iris gets in. She's helpless and only thinks about her brother, who is in need of treatment. Arriving at the Lambrick Manor, Iris is introduced to his son, Julian, and the remaining contestants. Lucas, Travis, who's a war veteran, Linda, an elderly woman paralyzed in a wheelchair, Peter, a gambling addict, Cal, Amy, and Conway, an in-debt alcoholic. When the contestants are seated and dinner is served, Iris points out that she's a vegetarian and refuses to eat the meat on her plate. Seeing this as an opportunity to begin the game, Shepard offers Iris $10,000 to eat the meat, which Iris accepts. Conway reveals to Shepard that he's a recovering alcoholic after Shepard notices he hasn't drunk any of the wine. Shepard offers him two choices: $10,000 for drinking a glass of wine or $50,000 for drinking a decanter of scotch. Conway accepts the $50,000 and reluctantly drinks the scotch. After dinner ends, the game begins and is revealed to be a version of the popular party game, Would You Rather, in which the guests will actually have to complete their choice of two undesirable options. Shepard offers his guests the chance to leave, but no one does. Bevins, Shepard's butler and former special agent, enters the room with an electric shock machine and two wire headbands. Conway attempts to escape, but is shot by Bevins. In round one of the players wearing a headband is given a buzzer with two buttons. One button is a self-inflicted shock, and the second delivers a shock to another player. The game starts from Cal. Shepard gives him two choices. Either he could pass the shockwave to Amy and escape, or self-electrify. Cal takes it himself and saves Amy from being electrified, but Amy is so cunning and electrocutes Linda next to her. Then Linda shocks Peter since she's already electrified. Lucas saves Travis and Iris by electrifying himself twice, while Iris saves Cal on his second time. After the contestants take turns making the tough decision, the round ends with no one eliminated. Shepard orders the contestants to be ready for the second round and leaves the place. The contestants plan to escape from the room. However, the room is filled with security guards. On the other side, we see Dr. Barden driving all the way to Lambrick's Manor to save Iris. Soon after the break, the second round begins. Iris is given the choice of stabbing someone in the thigh with an ice pick or whipping Travis 3 times with a sandbach. Travis tells Iris to whip him, as stabbing would be more life-threatening. Shepard orders Iris to whip him hard rather than just hitting for namesake. Initially, Lucas also chooses to whip Travis for this reason. When it's Travis's turn, he has the choice of stabbing Lucas or letting Bevins whip him. Travis once again chooses to be whipped. The dilemma then travels to Peter, who may either stab Linda in the thigh or whip Travis again. Knowing Travis won't survive another round of whips, Peter tells Linda that they have to work together. Peter stabs Linda in the paralyzed leg, but pierces a major vein, causing her to bleed profusely. Linda chooses to stab Amy since she can't stand up to whip Travis. Linda later bleeds to death. As the turn heads to Amy, she points out that the point of the game is survival, ultimately choosing to stab Iris. Amy asks Shepard if she can stab Iris anywhere. Shepard agrees and allows her to stab anywhere between the shoulder on down. Amy stabs Iris close to the lungs, and fortunately, Iris escapes with a minor wound. Agreeing with Amy, Cal's turn sees him choosing to whip Travis, leading to Travis's elimination from the game. The group attempts to run away as the round ends. Iris is able to escape from the dining room, but Cal is shot and eliminated while the other 3 survivors are forced to stay at the dinner table. Iris attempts to escape through the basement, but is stopped by Julian, who tries to rape her. She manages to stab him in the knee with the ice pick and fight him off. Dr. Barton, who was once the winner of the same game, arrives to save Iris. Before he can do so, Bevins arrives, shoots Barton in the head, and takes Iris back to the table for the third round. The third round begins, which involves making a decision between the known and the unknown. The known requires one to have their head held in a barrel of water for 2 minutes. The unknown carries an unknown fate in the form of a card. It can be deadly, or it could be relatively harmless. Peter goes first and chooses the card, which commands him to ignite a firecracker in his hand. Peter reluctantly complies, but dies from a cardiac arrest when his hand is blown off. The turn goes to Lucas, who is forced to slit open his eye with a razor blade. Iris chooses to challenge the barrel, recollecting her brother's treatment, holding through the pain, and manages to survive the 2 minutes. It is then revealed that Iris would have had to have all her teeth extracted if she picked the card. Shepard triggers Amy by revealing the truth about her husband, who's responsible for her daughter's death by drowning her. Amy decides to go with the card, but the card reveals that she has to spend 4 minutes in the barrel instead of 2. Amy drowns to death, mostly due to the start being called as she was opening her mouth to take a breath. The fourth round starts, with only Iris and Lucas left. Iris has the choice of sparing Lucas and letting the two of them leave empty-handed, or she has the choice of killing Lucas with a dueling pistol and taking the money to save her brother's life. Lucas attempts to talk Iris into sparing him and begins to tell her why he came into the competition. As he pours out his heart and compares the struggles of his family to Iris's brother, Iris suddenly shoots Lucas in the chest, killing him. Shepard crowns Iris the winner and allows her to leave with the money, additionally stating that they've already located a donor for her brother. Iris finds Raleigh asleep on his bed and proceeds to shower the blood off her. Upon further observation, she finds that Raleigh has committed suicide by overdosing on his medication. The film ends with Iris grieving over her brother's corpse, screaming, "What did you do?" Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again.